Voted as best internet radio show in Tampa Bay, you're tuned into Hoppe Hour. This segment is being brought to you by Malectronic.com. At checkout, use keyword Hoppe for 20% off.
What's up? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and on the phone line is an up-and-coming rapper who I met on the app Shaper. We both swiped right, but no, it wasn't for dating reasons. It's like a version of LinkedIn, but you swipe right. And on the phone line from Atlanta, the rapper known as Shah. He is on Hoppe Hour. What's up, my man?
Yo, we got Shah in the building. Hoppe Hour, what's up? Shout out my dog, Brian. Thanks for having me on, man. We've been chit-chatting for a minute. Glad to finally get it popping.
You know what I like about you, man? And I was thinking about it, is you're very, very humble. Like, you seem like a guy, even though you're growing, and even though you're getting really big, you don't let it get to your head. Like, you seem like a guy I would want to get drunk with on the weekend. Like, you look at some rappers and they just get all messed up and they seem like people you wouldn't want to be friends with. But you have this really likable attitude. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that you say that. And it happens in rap. And part of the reason is that happens because I can definitely relate to what you're saying. Part of the reason is that in rap, probably more than any other genre, the sort of facade of success and the facade of, or not even maybe the facade, but sort of like the image of success is so integral to people buying into you and people supporting you. You know, we live in an era of people supporting or people being enchanted by popularity more than talent. Clout matters more than talent. So along with that, in the rap game comes this sort of, you know, this feeling that I need to stunt, I need to flex, I need to be showing off. And then along with it, and it's not really authentic, it's not really genuine. Now that works, obviously that works, but deep down, you know, we're all human beings. And then when you get to a slightly more sophisticated point, then you're like, wait, I don't need to put up this facade. And the other part of it, which I'm really glad, like when you say something like that, it really touches me because the other part of it, beyond just, you know what, like, I don't have any insecurity issues. I'm not trying to compensate for anything. I don't need to put on this front. The other part of that is that the people, the supporters, the fans, the audience, this is who allows me to do what I do. So being able to connect with the fans directly, that's sort of, to me, an integral component of why you do this. So when you come in and say something like that, it really feels good. So I appreciate that.
You know what I like about you too, man, and I was thinking about it, is the fact that you hang around very beautiful women, obviously, because you're a rapper, and you're a good-looking guy. But the difference is, I feel like a lot of these rappers, they just demean women, and they treat them like whores. You seem like the type of guy that actually wants to get to know them, and when you hang around them, I feel like you're one of the few rappers that actually treats them with some sort of respect, which is what I like about you, bro.
Well, great, and I like that you're seeing that, and I'm very encouraged that you sort of value that. Like, as another male, the fact that does something positive for you, that's great. To me, that's a great sort of sign of society. And yeah, definitely rap is a bastion for a lot of societal ills, a lot of things that we should move past. You know, it's still a very homophobic field. It's still a very sexist field. And me as a feminist definitely have it in my head that one thing I can use my platform and my music and my influence to do is help bring some sort of equality, or at least some sort of understanding that, you know, like, women have it rougher in this world. Like, you know, like in 99% of the, 99% of the world, women are going to have it rougher. I don't need to worry when I walk home at night alone about my physical safety, right? Not all women have that luxury. So now to use your platform to further demean women or to further objectify women, I mean, it's just like, you know, I know it's the norm, and sometimes you can easily fall into that trap. Like, for instance, people like to look at girls. I love looking at pretty girls. I love looking at pretty naked girls. So it's very easy, say, for a music video, to just fall into that trap. And then as an artist, you have to realize that, okay, well, there's something beautiful here. I have the ability to do this in an artistic way as opposed to just a straight-up objectifying way. But again, the headline for me is that you seeing that and that speaking to you, that's great. That makes me feel real happy.
So what's it been like? So you grew up in Canada, right? So when did you move to Atlanta? How did that whole process go?
So basically, so I'm born and raised in Toronto, like you said, Canadian, born and raised. New York had been home, second home for me for a while. There was a lot of back and forth, Toronto and New York. LA entered the picture in 2016. Then at the end of 2016, I was in Atlanta for what was supposed to be a weekend. There's a festival, a small festival, sort of like a rap version of South by Southwest. It's called A3C, so it's sort of like for the Southeast. And I was there for a couple shows, meet some people, that sort of thing. And then unexpectedly, what happened was I was popping in Atlanta, and I didn't realize it. I didn't expect this to be something that would be waiting for me when I landed. I had been there's a lot of the rap industry in Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is the rap mecca, not just in terms of this is the place where the most rappers come from and the most talent lies, but also in that this is the place, sort of like Hollywood is for acting, where people come to make it. And then part of the reason that exists is because the industry is here. The rap industry is here. So all of those elements, the fan, the network, and the industry were all here and sort of waiting for me. And it was bigger than in any other city. Like, I'm born and raised in Toronto, and Atlanta had more going on than Toronto did for me. It had more going on than New York, had more going on in LA. So the weekend turned into a week, turned into a month, and then the team was like, all right, like, yeah, we need to obviously be going back to New York, and there's things in LA, and, we'll go to Miami for this, but I feel like, we should just make Atlanta, like, let's just keep running with it as long as it stays, as long as it's doing it for us. So that's how that unfolds.
What's the biggest difference between the rap scene up north and then the rap scene here in America? So, like, when you first came to America, what was the first immediate difference you noticed in hip-hop music?
That's a dope question. So it's tough to put America all in one picture, but I guess I can compare, like, Toronto versus Atlanta and New York as well. But New York and Atlanta do have something in common which Toronto doesn't, which is that there's money floating around. In Toronto, in general, rappers aren't making dough. So in Atlanta and in New York, on the way to sort of making it, rappers they'll have some sorts of income, whether they're out on the streets trapping, whether it's whatever it is. Rappers in general aren't all the way broke. Whereas in Toronto, until you start to get something going on, there's not going to be an income source that's related to music. So then you have Toronto rappers needing to, like, have some other job. They work at like the phone store. They work at the whatever, like, some job that's not making music. So that is a big difference. And then the next big difference that Atlanta has, and to a lesser extent New York has, is that the culture of the city really embraces rap. So I guess I don't know what it's like anymore to be in Toronto as a rapper who's not popping. But, like, mentally, someone asked me that, like, the other day, and mentally, I'm in Atlanta. So when I first arrived in Atlanta, like, maybe 1% of Atlanta, maybe 3% of Atlanta knew who I was. So when I walked down the street, generally 99 or 97% of people didn't know who I was. But there was, like, I looked like a rapper. I dressed like a rapper. I'm generally around girls. Like, I look like a rapper. And there was this respect level and this encouragement from strangers, like people on the street. Oh, hey, what's up? Are you an artist? Yo, do your thing. Just, like, keep doing it. Versus in Toronto, like, I do have to sort of mentally go back and, like, think of what it would be like. But in Toronto, if you were to say that, or in Canada, if you were to say that, oh yeah, I'm a rapper, or I'm an emerging rapper, it would be tough to have a good feeling associated with that because it's just not the culture. So that's one big difference where it's a positive for Atlanta, a positive for the States, in that rap's just a bigger part of the culture. It's more embraced. And then Atlanta specifically really embraces new artist wave. So, like I mentioned earlier, the concept of people supporting and people being enthralled by popularity over talent. Whereas in Atlanta, as long as you have a little bit of momentum, as long as you've got a little something going on, some social proof, something to indicate that, yeah, okay, some other people believe in him, Atlanta people will support your wave early on. Whereas in places where rap is not as, an integral staple of the culture, you need to rise a little bit higher before you get that love. So that's another positive about here. And then I guess musically, the Toronto sound has sort of changed in the last year, whereas the Toronto and Atlanta sound, like, to me, those are the top two cities right now for producing music. For, like, the most prolific cities right now are Atlanta number one and Toronto number two. And up until maybe the last year, the Toronto sound was sort of the Atlanta sound, but just there was this, like, sad undertone to it. And I'm not talking so much about, like, Drake or Abel or, Justin Bieber, people consider him Toronto, but, like, the artists that you might not have heard of outside of Toronto, but that Toronto sound was kind of sad. And I'm really encouraged that it's becoming more positive and more joyous, and not in a, superficial way, but just, I guess there's just more joy in the city. Whereas the Atlanta sound is definitely one that embraces fun.
I feel like Toronto doesn't get enough credit and attention as a city. Number one, it's bigger than Chicago. And number two, it's the third biggest city on this continent. I feel like people, because it's up in Canada, they kind of go, oh yeah, that's that city in Canada. I feel like Toronto doesn't get enough credit for how huge it is.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. Toronto is such a dope city. It's got so much going on. And then Toronto people sort of take that, Toronto people accept that loss, I guess you can say, because I think it used to be the fourth biggest city. I think it used to be New York, LA, Houston, Toronto. And then even, I remember when that fact was something that Toronto people became aware of. It was like, what? We're the fourth biggest city? Like, in that, so there is this, I don't want to say lack of pride, because Toronto people are, like, we are very proud. Like, Toronto people will be rocking the Toronto Blue Jays hats and will be rocking Raptors gear, and they're very proud of their city. But I agree with you 100% in that it doesn't get the that superstar city status. Like, there's New York and LA, and that's where the conversation ends. And for the globe, it's like New York and London. And, like, New York and London, they are the championship cities of Earth. But as far as North America goes, it's like, yeah, like, the conversation sort of ends at LA, and I agree with you that there needs to be more, like, Toronto deserves more. And I guess part of that is, we have this border, so there are less people going to Toronto than, say, maybe Boston or Philly or something like that. But the culture is real dope in Toronto. And then, another excuse might be that, well, it's cold, so you don't want to be going to Toronto from, like, November until March, which is true, but Chicago's cold, too. So I agree with you there, like, 100%.
I'm kind of weird about the cold because I grew up north. I'm from the Midwest, so, like, I dealt with those long winters in the Midwest. And I live in Florida now, and it's like, I feel like if I had the right money and the right situation, I would move back in a second. But I feel like the cold weather really hurts the Midwest because there's a lot of great cities in Canada and in the Midwest, Chicago, St. Louis, Milwaukee. But I feel like because it's cold all the time, it just kind of hurts its chance of being popular. You know what I mean?
100%, because, like, those other cities that you mentioned, because, like, when you say Midwest, I think it's that same Toronto phenomenon where it's like, okay, I know Chicago, but even I don't go, like, one of my producers, Case the producer, shout out Case, he's in Chicago. I should go to Chicago way more, but I'm not, because it's location, I guess, well, not even the location. I guess it really is the cold, because it just wipes out, like, who's trying to go to Chicago in January, February. But then those other cities that you mentioned, Milwaukee, St. Louis, those are not even on my radar, like, at this moment in time, like, for shows and that sort of thing, for sure. But, like, as cultural hubs, yeah, you're right. Like, so the cold is definitely, something that's not bringing positive attention. But, yeah, I'm with you.
Dude, you're doing very well right now. I'm looking at everything you've been up to. You were named top new artist at South by Southwest, breakout new artist at South by Southwest, Toronto's #1 hip-hop act at South by Southwest. You crush it there. You're getting mentions on magazines, and you're heard on V103 and Hot 107.9. Does this ever get to your head, or do you just kind of think, I need to keep grinding and I need to never give up? Is there ever a time you have to kind of humble and be like, okay, I need to keep grinding? Or do you ever get a little bit cocky and then you kind of have to pull it back a bit?
Man, when you ask the question like that, it's a little bit I don't want to say sad, but so to answer the question, 99% is the latter. 99% is keep grinding, keep hustling, keep moving, and that's sort of my nature. That it's keep moving ahead. There's bigger fish to fry. There's more things out here to capture. And you asking that question makes me feel like, well, you know what? Maybe I should stop and smell the roses a little bit more. And there definitely are moments where. There definitely are moments of joy, and it's sort of when a breakthrough happens. So, I mean, I can give you a couple, but these would be in those 1% moments where it's like, hey, like, yo, we're doing it. Like, hey, this is dope. Like, Greg Street is sort of a legendary rap radio pioneer, still one of the, I think this year, the Source in their sort of top radio DJs ranked at number 3 or number 4. So there's like the New York. He was like the only non-New York guy in the top 10. He did the world premiere of Just Text in like summer of last year, and it sort of happened unexpectedly. One of the biggest DJs in the South, maybe the biggest DJ who actually still DJs parties in the South, in the rap world, in the trap world. His name is Swamp Izzo. He started messing with me. He sort of took me under his wing, and then I guess the day that we sort of like officially started, he's like, come meet me at the station. He's like, okay, pull up to the radio station. And then another artist, Bodega Teasy, Sean Teasy, gave me the heads up. He's like, oh, Swamp said meet him at the station. He's like, make sure you bring the music. I'm like, you sure? Like, Swamp just said just meet him. I thought he just wanted to like talk. He's like, no. So I'm like, bring the music. So get there. So Swamp's the DJ, Greg Street's the host. And then I had met Greg Street the night before with Swamp at Blue Flame, where Swamp was DJing. So there was a good vibe. There was a good rapport. And he's like, you got the music? And then I'm like, yeah. So I gave him the chip. He puts it in. This is Greg Street with the world premiere V103 Just Text. And then that woman said, damn, this is happening. This is happening right now. And then when we got out, I was with Liz Cleveland, who's my video producer and my agent. You were probably in touch with her for setting this up. And then as we left, it was like this moment of like, oh, hey, we're doing this. We're doing this. So that's one of those moments that lets us enjoy. And then in terms of cockiness and that sort of stuff, yeah, I guess there probably is like more subtly at a rate that I don't even realize. There probably is some changes, like meaning before I could just at least consider doing a feature for any artist, giving them a verse, whereas now it's like the economics of that mean that like there's a price, there's a fee, there's even a fee for like the time it takes to read the like inquiries from people. And I try to make, and I actually do a good job of making time for any fan, any supporter, but with more success, sort of the price goes up, and that's just a reality. And I know people take that as sort of cocky, and maybe it is, but like you said, I think that overall my nature has become a very sort of humble one, and the overall feeling is one of like, well, we're not done yet. We have we have a big, long road still ahead of us, you know?
You know what's weird, too? Is like, so you wanted to go into music. I wanted to go into radio. So we keep on grinding when we're younger. And then you keep on getting better. And then you begin getting fans. And what I'm saying is, isn't it weird once you begin to get good that you can begin to kind of feel that you're getting good and then you're getting fans? Like for me, man, I'm not the biggest show in the world, but I do pretty damn well. And it's just so weird to think that in people's free time, they want to listen to my show, Hoppe Hour. And in their free time, they want to listen to Shah while at the gym or while cruising down the highway. Isn't it weird to think that, like, people listen to what we do? That's the most humbling thing for me. And that's what I will never, ever let get to my head, is that people actually are listening to this right now.
I think what you do, so you definitely have a presentation where, and maybe this is the same thing that you're seeing, but you definitely have a presentation where, like, within the first glance, and then within that next sort of like 10 to 30 second glance, hey, like, Ryan Hoppe is a pro. This is what he does. He's a professional DJ. He's doing his thing. So meaning there's a lot of people now who reach out for a podcast interview. And I guess this goes back to what I was just saying. Like, is another example of I can't do a feature for everyone. One, based on talent, and two, there needs to be a budget. I would love to do every single podcast, but if at first glance it's like, man, like this podcast probably has like 7 listeners and it's sloppy. Like, it's like, you know, that it's just going to be something that you'll need to pass on. Whereas with you, and I think part of it is you're born with it, and then another part of it is that you're smart enough to get better, and you're good enough to get better at a rate that's fast enough to count. So, you know, I think I'm sure that you had something, I'm sure you always had something that was it, right? And then, like you said, you know, you begin at a point where, yeah, at the beginning of it, of course, like Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team, you know? But you put in the work, and then you get better. But, yeah, for you, it's very easy to see that, oh, yeah, this is a pro. Like, he's a radio personality. He's a broadcaster. He's in this world. So, yeah, that's my perception of, that was my initial perception of you, and then that's something I can relate with as well.
So, where did you get the whole theme to make the song Just Text? What is it about? How did you make it? How long did it take? Did you make it in one weekend? Did it take a year? For songs like Just Text, how long does it take, and where do you get the, let's say, ideas to make songs like Just Text?
So, in general, the process of making a song, it varies a lot. One thing that Atlanta has given me, and I think it's sort of the fusion of being in Atlanta, where there's so much talent, and specifically the talent, specifically the skill set of being prolific. So in Atlanta, rappers will go into the studio and literally not even know what they're coming in to do. They might not have even heard the beat that they're going to be rapping over before getting into the studio. They'll get in there, and they'll just start plugging in the music. Now, it might not be the smoothest approach, or you might have, like, old-school guys who are like, oh, that's not real hip-hop, or that's not artistic. But whatever it is, it's prolific. Like, you'll hear stories of Gucci Mane and Beethoven when Gucci would get out of prison, and they would just cook for the whole day. So what Atlanta's been able to do there is get me moving a lot faster. One thing that I still do have, and this is one thing that I'm working on, this is like a weakness of mine, or this is like this is an area of mine that I need to be improving a lot, is not only getting prolific, but then being able to do it on my own. Because the setting in which I flourish is when I'm there with the producer, so we're vibing off each other, and maybe there's one more person, maybe Eddie the engineer is there to be like, oh, yeah, or yeah, that melody right there, work that, or remember what you did in this song, try that over here. That's the setting that's going to give me gold 10 times out of 10. I just can't always bank on having Eddie there and Ellis there or Levin there with me. So that's one thing I need to get better at, to sort of pick up the pace, because we're in an era now of, shortened attention spans, and people don't really value the bars. People don't really value the lyrics like they used to. Now, me as a lyricist, I'm not going to be able to just sacrifice those lyrics and make, dumbed down music, but I still need to make music that captivates people and give people a good time. So what I really need to get better at is do it faster. So now for Just Text, Just Text, how it worked was, so I was in a situation where I was crossing from New York crossing from Toronto to New York, had a stopover at Montreal, and then getting over there, I started getting I basically got detained by Homeland Security on some bullshit. One was like, all right, like what are you guys holding me down for? And it's like, well, we don't need to have a reason. We can just arbitrarily we can detain you at our discretion. Like, well, what does this mean? Blah blah blah. This has happened to me before. It's sort of like, the experience of like flying as a brown guy. So I was sort of ready for this, and then how Just Text happened was, you're not supposed to have your phone in this whatever detainment area. But I was texting my attorney, like, all right, well, they did it again. How do I get out of this? Blah, blah, blah. And then so I missed my flight because I ended up being detained for like 12 hours. So now my people in New York who were, waiting for me started calling nonstop. Like, yo, hey, where you at? Where you at? And then this kept disrupting my text with the lawyer trying to figure out, hey, how do we, like, what do I do here? So then I kept telling people, don't call, just text, stop calling, just text, because, the call interrupts my text. I don't want to make it obvious that I got my phone in my hands. And then at that moment, right, like, maybe on the fourth call was like where I texted, stop calling, just text, don't call, just text. It's like, wait a minute. I got something here. This is everyone, regardless of the seriousness of the situation, can relate to the concept of, dog, why are you calling? Just text me. Like, this can be a text message. So then I knew that right there we have something. And then one thing that I'm not someone who believes in, like, preordained destiny or that, like, the fate or that everything is pre-planned. I don't believe anything like that. But I do believe very strongly that in any situation, but specifically one where something, unwanted or something undesirable happens, that you can take away from that a lesson or knowledge, or you can take that experience to be better off 100% of the time. And anytime something bad happens, I almost like the silver lining, I guess you could say, is very present for me. And it's like, all right, why did this happen? Or not so much why did this happen, but how am I going to be better off because of that? And in this moment, it's like, all right, well, we got the record. So that one happened. That one happened pretty quickly, lyrically, and then it wasn't until Atlanta that the beat presented itself with the producer, my buddy, who's a producer originally from Arkansas, who'd won a bunch of these Atlanta producer battle competitions in Atlanta. So he was super hot, and I came in here with this buzz going on with my music videos and my previous singles, made the record, and the rest is history for that song.
So, Shah, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you have any idea yet, or are you kind of just going with the flow of life?
Where Shah needs to be, so there's two parts to that. Where Shah needs to be from the bigger perspective is I really believe that, again, I'm not someone who believes in destiny or fate or anything like that, but I really believe that the greatest impact I can make and the impact that I'm sort of inspired to make is one that tangibly and meaningfully makes the world a better place and advances the world and contributes to progress in the world. So by 5 years, I'll be at the point where my audience and my platform and my influence will sort of easily allow for this to take place at an international level. And there's two main motivating or two main driving factors that I have there. And the first one that's been with me now for probably a year or two is that as a male, I have the ability to speak to other males about the inequality, about sexism and gender inequality in a way that can speak to them more easily, or where they'll be able to hear things more easily without triggering a sort of, defense mechanism or whatever it is. Kind of the same way that Bernie Sanders can talk to white people about racism in a way where they'll understand it and they'll be able to relate and they'll be able to embrace the concept more so than when, let's say, like Louis Farrakhan or Colin Kaepernick is talking about the concept. So that idea has existed, and now obviously we're benefiting from society moving along like on its own. So that's why when you say something like, hey, I like that you don't objectify women, that's why it makes me like genuinely so happy. I'm so happy to hear someone say that. Now, obviously, you know, you're on the scale of things, you're like a relatively intelligent individual, and my goal is now for everyone to be able to think like that, but the world is already moving in the right direction. So then the second part, which is a more recent, I guess, sort of revelation or a more precise way of creating that change, is that using my influence as a rapper, as someone who's looked at as like a star, looked at as a celebrity, and then looked at as like that cool guy by my audience, and like I guess specifically like the male audience, but all together, is that I can make qualities like empathy and justice cool. So by having someone like me who's speaking out against injustice in a way that's not preaching and not lame and not corny and not annoying, but it's like, damn, this is strong. This is a bold guy who's standing up for justice. I want to be like that. That's where I'll be in 5 years. So right now I can do that at a personal level, but you know, as you can see, the movement is still growing. So, and like you asked earlier, like, can you rest? Can you take a moment to chill? And I don't really take those moments to chill. I don't think I've taken a day off in, I don't know, years. So right now it's still a bit early to be able to, you know, swing that influence very powerfully. But 5 years is 5 years I'll be in that space.
So now, if people want to hear your work, where can they find it?
Everything on social media is Day of Shah. So my name is Shah, S-H-A-H, and all the social media, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, all that is Day of Shah. You go to Spotify, Instagram, Tidal, and just put in Shah, just text to the single that's out right now. You'll hear the music. I would say start with YouTube. What I've got going on, this was actually one of the things that got me popping in Atlanta. This is one of the things that got me popping in Atlanta was the music video series. So what we've done is, with every single, we've released an accompanying music video that is sort of an episode of a bigger series that will follow my career. So it began with the first single, which was Rookie Card, and then with each subsequent single, there's another video that falls after the other one. So you watch them in sequence, you see a story, and it's somewhat abstract at this point, but it's something that will follow my career that for the fans that have been following, they get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So that's where I would say people should begin. Go to YouTube, youtube.com/Day of Shah, or just put in Shah, just text, or start at the beginning. Go to Shah, Rookie Card, and then watch the videos, and then people are sort of like, it clicks for them, like, oh, okay, I get it now. So yeah, that's where I would say begin.
Yeah, man. So I like what you're doing, and I think in 5 years you're going to be a household name. I know it, bro.
I agree with you, man, but thank you for saying that, because every time there's someone who I believe in, like, you know, obviously I'm making the time right now because, hey, you got something going on. Like, I see where you're taking us. I see where you already are. But every time someone who you believe in says that it just feels real good. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for being on the show, and keep up the good work, man.
Hell yeah, we'll be in touch. And when you're in Atlanta, you come holler at me, man. I'll take you to Magic City.
Sounds good, bro. See you, dude.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.